It's not every day we see an ambitious MMO, so I was really sad when it happened. I was really looking forward to it. And if you don't know what Ashes of Creation is, it's basically a sandbox MMO. They started a Kickstarter campaign back then on June 2017, and the game's company is Intrepid Studios, founded in 2015. And it's not an exaggeration that this is the most hyped MMOs for over the years. Players have been supporting this game for over a decade now, and they're even going as far as donating hundreds of dollars just to get an early access. A lot of players are just really hoping for a new WoW killer, but I don't think that's ever gonna happen after this game. They were taking their time in developing this game, but all of a sudden they announced that this game is going to be released on Steam. And it's obviously not ready yet, and that's exactly what we're gonna talk about. We're gonna be talking about the content for this game, the newbie experience, the leveling, the dungeons, and a few more. Basically, the state of the game when they release it on Steam and why it's not ready. We're not gonna talk about the bots, the server issue, we're gonna talk about the game system itself. If you played the game before, you probably noticed that the game is lacking in content after finishing the main quest, which is only up until level 6. And after that, you're left on your own and your only choice is to level up. You can do the commission as well, but it's really slow, and the most efficient way to level up is by killing open world mobs. And it's not exactly easy. One mistake could prove fatal and kill all of the group. Not only that, after level 10, it's really hard to level up. It takes about 2 to 3 hours to level up by 1, and that is not easy. Now imagine soloing. That would be really hard and really time consuming, and not everybody has the time for that. And it's not exactly every day that you would find a group. Sometimes it takes hours and sometimes you can't find a party at all. So basically, the game is forcing us to be in a group every time we play, and that just doesn't make sense. Let's not forget that you have to compete for the spots as well. And most of the time, there's no spots. That means we are forced to PvP and kill each other just for the spots. So basically, you're gonna have to die again and again, and you're gonna lose a lot of XP. If you have no idea, if you die in this game, you're gonna lose a few things. Materials and glint, which is basically money in this game, and your XP. There's basically too much to lose just to level up your character, the most basic thing in all MMO. What about Instance Dungeon? Instance Dungeon is a dungeon separated from open world, just you and your group alone. Unfortunately, there isn't any of those. That means they're encouraging us to PvP to compete for spots, and they're basically just trying to make the game toxic. And it just doesn't make sense when it could be better. There are other spots as well, but the mob density is really low and you probably have to compete for that spot too. In other words, it's really hard to level up unless you're playing at 3 AM. But even when you play late at night, you would still have to compete for spots, but not as much as prime hours. If you made it this far, I would really appreciate your support by liking this video and by clicking the subscribe button. I'm just starting out in this venture and I would really be thankful. Without further ado, let's go back to our topic. How about the rewards in this game, the drops, the quests, the commissions, and unfortunately, that as well is really lacking in this game. Even common gears are really hard to get, sometimes it would take like 3 to 4 hours just to find one common gear. And sometimes you get lucky, maybe you'd get 2 or 3 gears in an hour, but that is once in a blue moon. It's a bit odd for a common gear to have a really low drop rate, and I think it should be higher. We should be getting one every now and then. One time I was leveling up for more than 10 hours and I did not even get one common gear. And by the way, for the records, that's for a party of 6, not just me. Now you can tell how low the drop rate actually is. As for the commission and quest, the only thing it's worth for are the XP boost and XP rewards from it, nothing else. Speaking of rewards, let's talk about the world boss. Personally, I haven't tried doing the world boss. But based on what I've read here, the drops are going to go to the group that contributed the most. Most likely the biggest damage and aggro as well. To be honest, I really like what they did here. I'm not really a fan of scaling system. It takes that rewarding feeling away of grinding your gear and joining a strong and proper guild. It feels really disrespectful of the hours that you put to work. Also, during the world boss, you can PvP as well, making it really fun and interesting. So that means you actually have to compete for the world boss. You're going to fight with everybody and damage the boss to secure the loot. And for me, this kind of gameplay sounds really fun. I grew up playing Shaya Online, a PvP MMO game, then I later switched to Albion Online, and then Throne in Liberty. So I might be biased for the PvP in this game. While the PvP mechanic in this game is really good, the PvP system is really bad, and that's what we're gonna talk about. There's a lot of PvP MMOs to take example from. There's Albion Online, Throne and Liberty, WoW, and New World. And I don't really know what they were thinking the way they added a PvP system in this game. You can PvP everywhere in this game, including the capital cities. You can even PvP in UB areas. But that was removed because of a certain drama. Instead of making the PvP regional, they wanted to do it globally. They could have just added high XP and high loot for PvP region and less for PvE. They could actually do that easily since the world map is so big. There's a lot of area without players and there's a lot of mobs there too. So that means they're wasting a lot of areas without putting them into any kind of use. Like actually 1/3 of the map there's almost no players in that area and there's a lot of mobs. So instead of putting them into any kind of use, they never did. Make that area into a PvP area, add dungeons, add high loot, add high XP, and there you go, everybody's having fun. And guess what? They never thought of it. Wow! And instead what they did is stream every week and drop a lot of promise they will never do. Oh, it's early access, it's alpha access. That is not the right excuse. There's also a corrupted system that I want to explain, but that's gonna take another 2 or 3 minutes for a dead game. So let's move on. What about the economy itself? The marketplace, the gathering, the crafting? It's honestly pretty good. The only problem I had is the crates and sport fishing. And I wasn't wrong, it caused a lot of problems later on. You can make tons of golds with your eyes closed by doing sport fishing in crates, and I don't think it makes sense for a player-based economy game to make gold this way. Like the currency itself, it should have been materials for crafting instead. Speaking of crafting, I honestly like it. The only problem I have is they're forcing crafting to be a necessary thing. It is necessary, but they're forcing it way too much. Remember when I said the drop rates are way too low? That's exactly what I'm talking about. They lower the drop rates way too much so that players would be encouraged to craft gears. Crafting should be there, yes, but I don't think the game should enforce it way too much. It's a player-based economy, yes, but I don't think everybody should have a profession. Let's not forget that there's more casual players than hardcore players. There should be casual and hardcore players. Not everybody has to be hardcore. Now lastly, let's talk about the endgame. There isn't really much endgame for this game, it's not a complete game after all. But there's one huge problem. It's a player-based economy without any kind of gold sink. And this is where the crafting really falls off. If it's a player-based economy game without any kind of gold sink, it is guaranteed to fail no matter what. People will stack a lot of golds and items without anything to spend on. And that is a common problem that I still see in MMOs up until to this day. And why crafting falls off here is because people will only buy the gear once. In about 2 or 3 months, nobody's going to buy gears. Nobody's going to buy anything in general. They already have what they need and they only need to buy the gear once. And that's exactly a problem for a player-based economy game. After 2 or 3 months, there isn't gonna be economy anymore because people will no longer need to buy anything. So that means there's nothing to do, nothing to buy, and the game is going to die. It is such a huge flaw for whatever time they have. They made a player-based economy game with an economy that's not gonna last a few months. I mean, why would they do something like this without any kind of gold sink? It should be common sense. And to make matters worse, they're encouraging us to craft. That means they're basically begging the game to die soon. So in my conclusion for this game is that they're forcing us way too much to play their way. And they haven't thought of it properly too. It's a hardcore sandbox MMO game, but that should not be an excuse for every players to be hardcore as well. There should be a room for casual players like me as well. This game is planned to be a subscription base. That means they're expecting the working class to play their game too. And I don't think they have the time for it the way the game is designed. Thank you guys for watching and that's it for this week. See you guys next time.